everybody, and happy Thursday as usual. Today we are going to be talking all about my Miss Canada experience. This is all about the week that I competed, my time leading up to the competition, and of course the final night, the coronation night, which I cannot believe was 2 years ago now. The competition is about to happen literally next week. I cannot believe it. So I did have a contestant that is competing this year asked just for me to share some of my own experiences that I had. Some people wanted different pieces of advice, so I'll be answering some questions that I got on Instagram. But other than that, I'm just gonna kind of walk through what my experience is like, how I felt. I always love knowing like the inside scoop of what was going on in someone's mind, because it's so not what you would expect. I think as a viewer or even as another contestant, you might not know what someone thinks. So it's just like going a little bit deeper inside the mind of what it was like to compete at Miss Canada, when again, like just knowing what I was thinking in those moments. We're gonna do a little show and tell beforehand. Ta-da! This is my sash, which I did get to keep. The crown. Ladies, the crowns you do not get to keep, okay? If you're gonna remember anything, if there's like a more important thing, it's that you do not get to keep the crown, okay? Just saying. We're not gonna touch on that anymore. We're not. It's painful. But it's okay. You get to keep your sash, which is so fun because you get to keep wearing it. I did take all of my pins off recently, but I still have this maple leaf pin that my mom got me like right when I won, almost. So that's been on there. That does not leave this ever. So I still wear this to different events and appearances that people might want. Yeah, that's always there for good use. Okay, so going into my experience, let's start with the Miss Canada competition. Okay, so for those of you who do not know what it is, Miss Canada is a non-profit-based pageant. They are personality-based as well. There is a teen category and there is a Miss category. It is held annually in Montreal, Quebec. The competition itself is about 4 days long. And I'll go over the judging really quickly, the judging components, just so that way people who maybe aren't familiar with the system can understand it a little bit better. So 15% of your score is based on a voting portion, which is made by an online donation, and a portion of those donations / votes for each contestant gets calculated and added to their total score, and then a portion, no, all of it goes towards their total score, but a portion of the donation goes to a children's-based platform or nonprofit called Opération Enfant Soleil. It's called Operation Sunchild because I do not speak French and my French accent is terrible. It's atrocious. So that is 15% of the score is fundraising component a few months before the pageant. 50% of the score is based on the week of the competition. So the girls interacting with each other, going to sponsored visits, going to different events and activities, communicating with each other. I'm pretty sure that includes their interview as well, which is before the competition. And 35% is the on-stage component, where I will go over that a little bit more in detail, but every contestant gets the chance to speak on stage, and then from there they announce a top semi-finalist, and then from there they go to do a crowning. So that is kind of it's a very simple judging scoring system. It's been like that for a very long time. 15%, 50%, 35%. And then I think there's like a 1% bonus that gets added to someone. That's a little bit additional. It's 1%, not much of a big deal. So just so if you don't know the competition, that's what it's pretty much all about. The winners of Miss Teen Canada and Miss Canada have the opportunity to pretty much have free range with what they want to do with the title. So it does require somebody who is going to be responsible, kind of like self-governing, like you're able to kind of have a hold of your reign and what you want to do, because the organization's not going to tell you to do one thing or the other. It's going to be up to you to plan your year and make it the best that you can. What they will do for you, what the organization does for you, is they give you opportunities to go internationally if you would like. They are not paid opportunities. You would have to fund them yourself. They are just the contracts that the organization holds for you to compete internationally. And you also get the opportunity to travel to Montreal, Quebec. I think one other time throughout your year, you will usually either go to the Miss Quebec Gala, you would go to the Miss Quebec Cruise. Those are the two main things that you have the chance to go to. So they will fund that one additional time. And then of course you get a whole bunch of other non-cash prizes, but you do get other sponsored items throughout your year as well. So that's just a little bit about the organization about the competition. I'm not going to get too much into the history. Let's get into the fun stuff, like what I experienced and what I went through. So I'm going to talk about when I started and when I signed up. I actually signed up when I was Miss Tecumseh. It was in 2017 and it was July. It was right before they were closing this sale that they had on registration. So the registration for a competition is about back then it was $1,000. Now I think it's $1,100 for, this includes everything except for your travel to the hotel or to the province. If you're out of the province, you would have to pay for that. So at the time it was $1,000 and it was in July, like I said, and it was at the time that it was a $500 discount on the registration. And it was like ending in a couple of days. And I remember the year prior, I had a former Miss Canada reach out to me and ask me to do it. She said I'd be a great candidate. And I just kind of had said, no, I was starting my year as Miss Tecumseh. I wasn't interested in that. But what I saw was that the pageant was actually going to be the day before my birthday. So for those of you who do not know, my birthday is March 4th, and I saw that the Miss Canada competition was going to be on March 3rd, and I just my wheels started turning. I thought, wow, you know what? I really like what this pageant stands for. I like what the organization's all about, and kind of seems like a really divine, like cool intervention. Like maybe that'll be destiny or something if I win the day before my birthday, and then I get to celebrate on my birthday winning. How cool would that be? So it really only took me a couple hours of research to make a decision, and I signed up and I was going to Quebec. Whew. So that was about in July. Not much happened. I was able to finish my reign as Miss Tecumseh, but until December. So December came around, and this is when your bios and your photos go up on the website, the Miss Canada, Miss Teen Canada website, and when you essentially get to see who else is competing, who else is going to be your competition. So, and this is where you also get to start the voting portion and spreading awareness, spreading fundraising awareness about your competition that you're competing in, for people to vote for you and help you out, because it obviously goes towards your overall score. So it was in December that began, and I remember I was always doing like pretty good with voting. Like I kind of had a really good motivation behind it, that I wanted to do well, and I didn't have anything else going on really, so I was able to put some good effort into that. And so I remember always being like ahead of the group with the voting, or with the top part of the group. I ended up finishing off with like 14.9 out of 15, and I will say I did host 2 fundraisers to get there. Now the way that the voting works, it's like in relation to how much the other girls are getting votes, so I don't know the total amount to get to 15 out of 15, but I will say I did fundraise a couple $1,000s just on my own, doing fundraisers at the bar that I worked at. So I don't know how much other people voted for me. You never really know that total amount, but I know it's usually it takes a little bit more than just people kind of vicariously voting for you here and there to get to that top 15 out of 15. But at the same time, you just want to make sure you do well. It's not all about getting the highest voting score, but you want to make sure it's high enough that it doesn't decrease the chance of other things, another contestant getting a higher score than you as well, because that can mean the difference between winning or losing. So either way, leading up to the competition, I felt really, really great. I was in a great mental HUD space. I felt awesome. Like, I wish I could say that in a different way. I just felt really good, to be honest. I felt like it was the right time for me to be competing. It was the right system that I wanted to compete in. I had just graduated from nursing, and I remember I had 3 jobs at the time when I was about to go compete for Miss Canada, just so we're clear. I was on the Optimist Club. I was actually on their board of directors, about to be their vice president. I worked as a nurse in a nursing home. I worked as a nurse in a pediatric mental health facility, and I was still working at the bar. So I had a lot going on, but at the same time, I was still practicing answering my questions. My mom is like my tried and true practice gal. Shout out to Mom, because she always asks if it's her. So yes, this is the shout out for you, Mom. I did that. I was working out just because it felt good. Like, I felt motivated. I wanted to feel good in my body and feel good in my skin. Not that I didn't feel good before that, but again, I was just on this whole like motivation kick for the Miss Canada competition until I would say, I think it was like the first or second week of February, that day, like, it hit me like a wall. I literally want to say it was like February 12th or 13th. Just because I remember I had a lot going on. had something happen at work that bothered me. I don't even really know, to be honest, what it was, but I just remember feeling like I had a breakdown. I cried, there were tears. I don't exactly remember what happened. I remember talking to Carlos about it and just explaining like, whoa, what is happening? I don't know if I was overwhelmed. I don't know. I remember everything being good, and then all of a sudden that day, I totally broke down. I think just a couple of things, like I dropped the ball on a couple things, whatever. It was a really emotional time because my Optimist Club was like switching some stuff around, getting new jobs. Like there was a lot. And I remember that night, that was the night that I ended up watching the documentary called The Secret. And then the next day I watched, which I've mentioned in a previous video, I think his name is Dan or Dave, his TED Talk or his speech about 10% happier and about meditation. And what things I got from those was about mindfulness. It was about, I learned about the law of attraction. Like I'd heard of these people, I've heard of this documentary, but I'd never, taken it upon myself to actually watch the documentary. I listened to the speech. So what I did is then that night that I had the breakdown, I stayed up till like 1 in the morning watching these videos. And then the next day I downloaded the app Headspace. And again, this is totally not about like Headspace. It's supposed to be about my Miss Canada competition, but it's all leading somewhere. So I downloaded the app Headspace, which has a lot of free meditations that you can do. And I was meditating every day because whatever was going on at the time, whatever like I was feeling stressed about, I needed to feel clear. And I didn't fully feel that way. So from that, I was able to gain back my clarity, gain back my sanity for the Miss Canada competition. Another thing that I'll say that I did every single day, other than meditating, like that was about 3 weeks up to the competition, but for the first like 2 months leading up to the competition, so all of January, all of February, I was repeating to myself every single day, I am Maria Gerlando, your Miss Canada 2018. Every single morning, like it was my day job, honestly, every day. And I would close my eyes and I would say it I would say it out loud, of course, and I would say it in my head, and I would picture myself being crowned, and I would get so emotional that tears would well up in my eyes because I would feel like I was being crowned. It was honestly, like you would think I was like on something, but that was just something that I personally did. I've not done that for every pageant. I've not felt that way for every pageant, but for this one I did. So that was leading up to the competition. I'll go into the competition week now. So I flew to Montreal with my mom and dad. They decided to take a vacation and stay in Montreal at one of the other hotels close by. And I arrived a day early. That is just like my tried and true thing. I will probably, if I don't ever have to arrive at a pageant on the day of, I won't. I'm always gonna, I don't know, weird things can happen when you travel. Like you can get sick, I don't know, you might feel a little bit off, and I didn't want to feel that way. So I arrived a day early. I ended up meeting up with one of my roommates at Miss Canada. You're at the Sheraton Hotel, which is like very nice. It's a very nice hotel. It's actually, I think I said in Montreal, it's in Laval. You compete in Laval, but you do events throughout Montreal. So you have 3 roommates. 3 roommates is a lot. I'll say it's a lot, but I'll get into my roommate situation afterwards. But I knew that one of my roommates had arrived early. And so her and I ended up meeting up at the mall. We hung out, we walked around, and we just kind of chilled for the night. So going in, okay, let's go into orientation. We go into orientation, all of the teens, all of the Miss are together. You're with directors and, choreographers, and you have like camera people with you, and you have the former queens with you. So it's just like kind of a super hectic, overwhelming experience, but it was so exhilarating. It was so fun walking into the lobby, seeing Kiara and Madison. Shout out Kiara and Madison. Lots of people are gonna get shout outs, so hopefully y'all watch this one, or else you're not gonna know if your name's here. So shout out to them. It was so cool because I'd gotten to speak with both of them. I reached out to both of them, and seeing people in person, you're like, wow, what is happening? This is so cool. So you go through, you sign contracts, you just kind of read over the rules, and then you're in this like seating area, just getting to know all the girls for like 1 or 2 hours, because each girl takes a turn going and speaking. They have like a camera crew there. They ask you a couple questions for promotion for the pageant, and you just do like a little Q&A with them. It's supposed to be for fun, it's not judged, but this is just your chance to get to know other girls. The directors will come and like they'll do a speech of some sort, like they'll kind of talk to you all, but you have free range to get to know everyone, which is pretty awesome. My year I think there were 14 teens and 27 Miss contestants. I don't think there's ever been that many Miss contestants or teens like all combined at once. It was a lot of girls. And I remember at orientation, again, it's just fun getting to know each other, but I remember myself and then my friend Stephanie Hubert, shout out Stephanie, you've gotten a shout out before, here's another one. We were sitting in a circle with a few girls, and Stephanie and I are so just like very bubbly personalities. Like this is why we're friends still to this day, and we've traveled together. It's really, really cool. But we were like just firing off to different girls, like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? Where are you from? What are you doing for school? Like we really like spitballed off each other so well, and it was almost like we were interviewing the girls. Like we were probably a little bit over excited, but that was just like a really great time to get to know all the contestants, get to know everyone. And then of course you get the chance just to speak on camera, practice answering questions. And I think at that night, you change and you do like a little rehearsal. It's very simple. Day one was very simple. I felt really good. I got to meet my roommates. So like I said, I had 3 roommates, and I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very grateful. I got very lucky with the 3 girls I roomed with. I had 2 teens and I had 1 miss with me. And in all honesty, we all got along so well. There was no concern, no issue whatsoever. So grateful because it's not always that way, and I know that, and I feel for the girls who have a rough time with roommates. The best thing is that I can say is just try to communicate, and if things are not working out, be to yourself then. Take time to be yourself and don't let it stress you out, because not everyone's gonna have 3 people or like 4 people all in a room that you all get along with. It's just not gonna happen. So not for everyone. Day 2, the next day, we started off, you go to a sponsored breakfast. So if the Miss Canada competition is a week long, that day I just explained was Wednesday. Next day we're going on to is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then there's a Friday, and then Saturday's the competition. So essentially it's a very, very quick competition. So our Thursday, you go to a breakfast sponsor, delicious, fantastic. Owner is amazing, great sponsor, great relationship. Again, getting to chat with the girls, getting to chat with the organizers, getting to just talk. You talk on the bus, you switch seats with everyone. I don't want to give too much away because there is some stuff that I want to leave for you girls as surprises, because you're literally leaving next week, so I don't want to ruin anything. So you'll figure some stuff out, but overall, how I felt. I remember feeling like very in flow. I remember feeling like everything was aligned, and it felt very good. I felt very in my element. I felt great, confident, fun. Felt like I kind of had each thing, I felt very in control of each thing, and I felt very prepared for what I wasn't in control of. I was just very go with the flow when I had to be. And then that night, you go to a sponsored dinner. I can't really say anything about that night, like that day. Like Thursday went very well, very good. Just again, meeting, being me, doing my thing, hanging out with everyone. So that wraps up. I think we might have had another practice at night or something, but then next it was Friday. So it moves so quick, and it's so friendly and so fun that it almost doesn't feel like a competition. But I will say that Friday did kind of shift things, and I'll get a little bit more into that. So again, you start your day off, you go to breakfast. You usually do some sort of activity after that, and then dinner. Sometimes you might go back to the hotel and then to dinner. It just kind of depends on what the flow of the week looks like. So what happens on Friday night usually is that you get a list of 4 questions. The teens get a list of 4, the Miss get a list of 4 of questions you get to answer. So you get to kind of be a little bit more prepared of what you want to answer when you go on stage. Again, I'm saying a lot here, but this is kind of like understood. If you've seen the pageant, you would know this anyways, and if not, it's not a big secret. I don't know what the questions are, to be honest. And then we did a practice. So we got those questions. It's Friday night, next day's interview, next day is the pageant, and Friday definitely went a little bit different. How do I want to say it? I didn't feel bad, but I remember there was someone there. Girls, we all do this odd thing when we're nervous and we say things that maybe we shouldn't be saying. And I just remember a lot of people around me were acknowledging one contestant in particular, saying like, oh my God, she should win, she's the best. Like in front of me, like it was a girl that I was competing against, and I'm like, thanks, like that's cool, all right. Like what am I supposed to say to that? I don't know. Like, that's fantastic. You can totally have your opinion, but you know, maybe just a time and place to say those types of things. So it got me down, and I just started second guessing. Like, I didn't second guess myself. I just remember calling my mom who's staying at a hotel different from mine. And then I remember calling my boyfriend Carlos and just like crying on the phone to them in the hallway at night, being like, I feel so good. I felt so good. I've done, like, I don't know that I could have done anything different, but I just hope that they see how genuine I am and like how perfect I would be for this role. Like, all I can hope is that they see that I'm here for every right reason, and that I would be just as good, and that I'm just as qualified, and my heart is there. But there's only so much, like, once you perform, like, there's only so much you have in control, like, before you just gotta trust that the judges will make a decision based on what they see. So that was a little bit challenging. It's just like hearing different people's opinions and not letting it get to me, or just being able to chat out those emotions. I didn't want to say it to any other contestant. I remember, I think I talked to the teens in my room just because they were in my room at the time, and that made me feel better. Like, they definitely resonated with that. They understood, of course, like, they're biased, so they were like, no, I want you to win, which is, of course, like, I wanted them to win, they wanted me to win. Like, your roommates, you kind of form a bond together. So that was Friday. Friday was good as well. The food, honestly, all the food is good. But I'm hoping I'm just giving you a little bit more insight to like what I experienced in that way. So some of it was not always easy, but like for the most part, for 90% of it, I felt very in alignment. And then like a 10% part of it was like, you know what, there's only so much I can do before it's just in the hands of somebody else, not me. And that's all. It can get emotional, but it was like a very I was very aware of how I felt about that. So that was good. So then Saturday morning, which is interviews, the time that was communicated was off. And so this was Saturday morning, the day of the gala. You had like, I don't know, I woke up at like 7 a.m. and like strolled out. I went to breakfast, like I could barely see it. My hair, like I was just a mess. I looked like I just rolled out of bed because I thought that interviews were so early, but I wasn't ready for interviews. So whatever, I ended up going to interview. It was completely fine. I mean, I must have done something right, but I'm not gonna give too many details about that. But again, I was like a ball of nerves. Like, you might think, oh yeah, Maria Nail's interview, or oh yeah, she's so good at it, she loves coaching, that's just like, she has no worries. Like, no, I was so nervous, and I was just like on the phone, I was talking to my mom, I was like fidgeting, I was nervous, I was going up to my room, back down, like, I was nervous, definitely, but afterwards I felt very good, very good. There's a theme. I felt very calm throughout most of the experience, and when I was worried, when I was nervous, like I was just very aware of those emotions, and I just thought, I've done all I can, I've done my best. And then I got ready for the gala night. So you have a few hours usually, like I think they provide hair and makeup. I just chose to do my own hair and makeup. I kind of wish I would have had someone else do my hair, not gonna lie, just because my hair, if you see when I'm like being crowned, it's all flat. It pretty much could have like looked like this. Oh, kind of, not really. But I like the way I did my makeup and everything. I had no issues with that. I will say, so something unique that no one probably knows is that I was getting ready in my room with my roommate, Savannah. Shout out to you, Savannah, if you watch this. And Savannah's mom came and hung out with us. She brought us these little like vegan energy balls that I think I had like 4 or 5 just because they were so delicious. And I remember her mom was talking to me like, I saw your pictures and you look like a Miss Canada, and now meeting you in person, like I know it's right. I know it's right. And of course I'm like, stop, you're so sweet. Like, that's so nice. But I was just like, okay, like thanks, I'm gonna do my best, right? So cool. And so we just stayed in the hotel room together, like being all girly, fun. We really got along really well. We were practicing like on stage questions, me and Savannah. My other roommates had just gone out to eat, I think, and we're just getting ready with the hair and makeup that was provided. So didn't see much of them that day because they were, doing their own thing, of course. And then comes time for the gala. So, going into the gala, I remember the gala, so Saturday night. How many times am I gonna say the gala? When I say the gala, I mean the pageant. They just call it a gala. It's the same difference. It's the final night. So the final gala, I remember it being backstage. You're all in your cocktail dresses. You're waiting to go on stage, perform, you do a little walkout and then you go back. And they have a live singer singing songs. And the singer was singing the song, Cake by the Ocean. which at this time, Cake by the Ocean was maybe like over a year old. So not like new, it was kind of overplayed at that point, not the most popular song. But what's so ironic about that, for those of you who don't know, is that Cake by the Ocean was the opening number dance to Miss Tecumseh when I competed, you know, a year prior. So I remember thinking backstage, like, universe, what's going on here? What are you trying to tell me? Why are you making the same song be the song that's playing at this pageant, at another pageant that I won at? Like, what is going on here? So again, I was just very aware of that. I was kind of stunned in the moment. I couldn't do anything, so I took a deep breath, went out on stage. If you see the video of me, I went like way too fast. I was just like boom, 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 smile, ha, ha. Like I was all over the place, so nervous, but like just having a blast. It was a lot of fun. You just walk out and you come back. There's nothing else to it, but I was just like, my head was here, my head was there. It was just all over the place in a good way, I guess. And then that was that. So then you change into your evening gowns, like literally it's, you're just go, go, go. And then from there, you get the chance to speak on stage, whatever your topic was about. Looking back, the answer that I gave on stage, like I spoke very nice, clear, slow. My answer just kind of didn't make any sense looking back. Like it had no substance to it. So if you were one of my pageant girls and you see my final answer ever, like it's not how I would tell you to answer a question. Trust me, not how I would tell you to answer a question. But it did good enough to get me into the semifinals. So moving forward, everyone's on stage. Miss Canada, Miss Teen Canada are all on stage, the contestants. For the Miss Teen Canada, there were 7 finalists, and then for Miss Canada, there were 10 finalists. So we all got asked a final question, kind of like Miss Universe style, where like all of the other 9 girls had headphones in, and then you couldn't hear the girl before you, but you could hear the girl after you. So there was some surprises in the top 10, but I was not surprised to be there. Like I knew I had done well enough. And I was kind of in the middle of the pack when I did my answer. So yeah, I was listening to music. I was listening to, I think it was Bapa Americano, you know, like do, 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 do. So I was just jamming to that. That was a lot of fun for the moment, you know, obviously trying to relax before getting asked a final question. And my final question, or everyone, the top 10 Miss Canada final question was, what is it about Canadian women that makes us like a good role model to other people? Again, my answer probably a little bit vague, but I spoke clearly and slowly and I sounded like I knew what the heck I was talking about. But after like watching back at the video, all the girls kind of answered the same thing. So there's only so much you can do when you're not prepared to answer a question, but I knew from answering that, I was like, huh, you know, like that wasn't too bad. Like, I don't know what the girls before me said, but when I heard the girls after me, I must have had like 6 girls speak after me. I remember thinking like, Maria, I think we did something right here. Like, I think we're doing really well and I feel really good about everything. Like I knew the dress came together. It was red. It was like very form-fitted. I wanted it to be red because I was going to Miss Canada. The answers I gave, no, they weren't perfect, but I was confident and I felt good saying them. And what I was in a vibe at the time. So those are the answers I gave. I felt good. So we move on, and the Miss Teen Canada gets crowned Joanie. Oh, Joanie, woohoo, Miss Teen Canada 2018. So awesome. That was great. Joanie and I actually didn't get to chat a lot throughout the week, but I remember the day of the pageant, right before we went out for our evening gown, we hugged each other and we took a picture and we were like, oh my God, we didn't really get to talk a lot. Like there's 40 girls in only like 3.5 days. You don't get to chat with everyone, but we took a picture before crowning and then we both ended up getting crowned. Spoiler alert, sorry if you didn't know that. So moving on, we go to the crowning of top 3 for Miss Canada. And the girls who got, so first they call second runner-up, and then they call first runner-up. And I remember I was standing there, I was holding the girls' hands, and I remember thinking, like, based on who was called for first runner-up and second runner-up, I was just like, I'm about to be Miss Canada. Like, I don't know how other girls take it, I don't know how other girls feel, but in that moment I just knew. I didn't feel like a cocky, egotistical thing. It was just like, this is it. This is what I've done, and it's about to happen. Like, this is, I would be shocked if it did not happen. And I can understand why girls get in shock when they don't win, if they're in that kind of mindset, but this just, like, everything lined up, everything made sense. So when it was being announced in French, so at first it kind of took a second, like, okay, they're about to announce the Miss Canada, and like hearing my name, even saying this, like my heart is pounding right now.
Et c'est maintenant le grand moment attendu pour couronner Miss Canada 2018. Il s'agit de Maria Giorlando!
So hearing, you know, Miss Canada 2018 is Maria Giorlando, and I just remember feeling like, oh my God, like, did somebody hear my mind right now? Like, was I just talking out loud? Because this is what I was thinking, and this is what I've been saying every day. And to hear it, it was almost like, okay, like, I know it, and it's happening. Is this real though? Whoa. So it was not like in a moment where I cried. I didn't cry right away. I got crowned by Kiara, gave her a kiss on the cheek. I grabbed her face. I told her I loved her. I remember it, and you can see it in the video. And she told me it was so beautiful. She crowned me. I did a walk with the first runner-up and second runner-up. We held hands, we walked forward, and picture perfect moment. So cute, so awesome, so fun. Really great moment. It was honestly phenomenal. It felt amazing. So when I hear girls talk about like how they want that feeling, I get it. I totally get it. But it's just, there's so much more behind it. There's so much more to accomplish, to succeed. I've now competed in pageants where I haven't won, and I've still gotten that same feeling, that same success in a different way. So the biggest thing that I hope you can take away from listening to this is take a deep breath and be confident. Be confident in you and whatever you present. Don't worry if you mess up. Don't worry if things are out of your control, if they're not perfect. Just have confidence in you, in the system, in the judging, and hey, you might be the next Miss Canada or Miss Teen Canada. And if it's not this year, who's to say it's not next year? And of course, it was 2 hours later. The clock strikes midnight, and the Miss Canada organization is singing happy birthday to me. Talk about like a picture perfect fairy tale moment. That is my Miss Canada story, going to Miss Canada, the feelings I experienced, some of the behind the scenes things, some good, some bad. This video is already like 34 minutes long. We've really got to work to trim it down. But I wanted to give all of the girls competing and maybe future contestants or past contestants a little bit of insight as to what I experienced. That night I spent it with the Miss Canada organization. I stayed up to like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I had a flight at like 8 o'clock in the morning. So I really only got like 2 hours of sleep, just answering messages, thanking people, talking about it, explaining it to my boyfriend at home, my sister, everyone that wasn't able to be there. Of course, hugging like my mom and dad. They're just like super proud mom and dad at that moment. And it was, wow. I still can't believe it was 2 years ago. I still can't believe I was Miss Canada. I still can't believe I had the sash. Like, it's still kind of like a starstruck kind of thing. But honestly, with or without the sash, it was still a great experience. And I hope that all of you girls have a same humbling, happy experience. Win or lose, there's so much more to do from it and so much more to gain. And there's always a chance to go back and grow. Like, sometimes just like the part leading up to it is the most fun and the most exciting. Not saying that afterwards wasn't exciting, I'm not gonna say that, but there's definitely something to be said about the growth process going up to it. So if you have a week left, my biggest recommendation is take some time for yourself, look inward, check in with yourself, see how you're doing, make sure everything's okay. If you ever want to reach out to me for support, I will say I'm so excited. I've got a few girls going for Miss Canada and Miss Teen Canada. I cannot wait to cheer them on from home. I'm going to be sitting in the comfort of my own bedroom, most likely, watching the competition as long as it's live streamed. cheering for them, but I'm cheering for all of you as well. And if I can support you in any way, let me know. If you have a question that I didn't get to answer. Oh my gosh, we had questions. We did have questions. Hold on. This is gonna be so much longer than I expected. Let's see. Questions I was asked. So, you have great content. Thank you. We're not answering. Where is the pageant held? So it's held in Laval, Quebec, and it will be on March 7th, next Saturday. You're amazing. Thanks, so are you. Favorite memory from the week? Girl, you know my favorite memory was winning. But in all honesty, it was feeling in alignment and feeling like very good about everything that had happened. I'd want to say like one of the favorite moments was literally winning and then having, like I said, everyone saying happy birthday to me. That was kind of like a moment that you can like visualize, but when it's happening, it was a really, really, really special thing that I'll always remember. Best piece of advice is something like I already said. Take this time this next week to look inward, check in with yourself, make sure you're doing okay, take some deep breaths to enjoy it and not to stress. What is one thing you wish you had known before competing? That's very good. That's a very good question. So one thing that I would say that I wish I knew beforehand was how to answer questions in a little bit of a better way to make them more mine. Like my answer on stage and my final answer were just kind of like pish posh looking back. So I wish that I would have had like the structure I have now for answering questions and really be able to give my insight, my own opinion in a different way, in a little bit more of a personal way, but I didn't know then, so I did the best with what I had, and those are all the questions that I got. So I hope that everyone enjoyed this. I really tried to keep my hands down too. It's also because I went to CrossFit yesterday and like lifting my hands past like right here, not happening. It's just, we're in pain. We're in much, much pain. Yeah, so if you like this video, please go ahead, like it down below, and subscribe to my channel to see more pageant and personal goal related content. I'll be making videos every week to help you achieve your ideal life. If you want, connect with me on social media because I post a lot more there for us to get to know each other and for me to help support you on whatever journey that you are on. Thank you so much again to tuning into this video, and good luck to all the girls competing. Special hearts to the girls that I am coaching. I love you all. You have been doing so amazing and cannot wait to watch you all compete and grow and blossom and, you know, turn from caterpillars into butterflies, even though you're all butterflies in your own way. Without further ado, that's pretty much it. I hope everyone has a great night, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.